Welcome back, everybody, to the Nevin Shapiro Show. I'm Mike Tirado. I'm here back with Nevin Shapiro. And today we're going to do a post-NFL draft intel on what's been going on after the draft, during the draft. So before the show starts, please click that subscribe button. We're now sponsored by BTN Connect, which is backed by Athlete Narrative. Check them out in the description below. And as always, let's get into the action. Nev, before we actually do get into the action, I'd like one of our producers to bring a picture that we had put together of all of the people that you were with back in the day. And we'll blow it up on the screen here. But this is, I mean, you can go through it. All the people. Well,
you got
Willis McGahee.
It's a very it's a short list, but you got your linebackers. John Vilma, John Beeson, Tavares Gooden. Then you got Devin Hester, Vince Wilfork, devouring Leon Washington. That was Willis and I at the Heisman. Me, Edrin, and Clinton Portis on my yacht when they were both in the league already.
Yeah.
Hester and Wilfork at Club Privé. Two guys, one in the Hall of Fame, one going. And me, my buddy Paul D., God rest his soul, Cornelius Green, Jerome McDougal. Those pictures were taken right after the Virginia Tech beatdown, and then we were on our way to the Fiesta Bowl. Yeah, good times, man.
Definitely good times.
Better times.
Yeah, definitely better times.
Yeah.
Let's get into it. So Miami had 7 players drafted in total. That's the most since 2017. Other than Cam Ward, those picks were really in the 5th, 6th, and 7th round, 2 being undrafted free agents. From a developmental standpoint, do you see this as an upward trend or a downward trend?
So, I when I was driving down here before, I listened to one of these shows on Sirius Radio, and it had to do with like the post draft, and the guy had made a comment that 8 Georgia defensive linemen or linebackers have gone in the first round 8 straight years. And the only thing comparable to that was Miami having, or in the last 4 drafts, 8 players have gone in at least in the first round. And the only thing comparable to that was the Miami guys going back to the Will Fork, Vince, Vilma, DJ, and those guys. We had 7 guys go. So even though it's not a direct answer to your question, you could see that's what turns the tide of a program. That being said, I've come on many times and I've ragged on Mario, a lot of it based on some of the stuff we've heard, but more so because of the collapse against Syracuse. That really, really got to me bad. But Mario's doing a great job in flipping this talent. He just is. Like, let's give flowers where you got to give flowers. He's got some dudes in this yard now. He's got some dogs in this yard. They're starting to get talent, man. We're past the days of like Lou Headley being the only drafted player as a punter. He's got some dudes, man. And yeah, I think even though we were bottom heavy, draftable guys outside of Cam Ward, I think Xavier Restrepo very easily could have been a 3rd round pick had he gotten better advice.
Yeah, we'll get into
maybe
that
a 4th
later.
round pick. Yeah. I like the trajectory, man. Honestly, I like the trajectory that Mario's got them on from a talent standpoint. He's just got to go fucking win. But I like the trajectory he's got them on talent-wise. I stand on that. And it was good to see Miami start like getting some.
Yeah.
It was good. I think they got 7 guys, and I think so there were only maybe 5 or 6 teams that got more players, maybe 7 teams that got more players. So that's not a bad place to be in the hierarchy.
Right. So I'm going to go through a list of everyone that did get drafted, and, congratulations to you guys as well, obviously. So Jalen Rivers went to Cincinnati, the offensive lineman.
Great spot. Yep. Great spot for him.
Yep.
And I think he's going to be a good pro. He was developed. Miami's going to develop their offensive linemen. They're going to.
Yes.
Alex Mirabal and Mario Cristobal, former offensive linemen. They're building it from the trenches. I'm down with what he's doing from that side of the ball. Yep.
Then you had Francis Mauigoa and Tyler Barron that went to the New York Jets together.
Yeah.
In the 5th round.
Yeah. For me, Francis Mauigoa, I'm on the fence with him. I hope he's good.
Yep.
I'm on the fence with him. I can't really. I haven't been really thrilled with our linebacker play in recent times. Tyler Barron came in with a lot of hype. He's going to get a shot, and I like that pickup. For them.
This is another cool duo I think is going to be great. Elijah Arroyo and Damian Martinez are both on the Seattle Seahawks.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, you know how I feel about Arroyo.
Yep.
One, I think he is a unicorn of sorts. I think he's dynamic.
Yeah.
And I think Damian Martinez. Listen, if DJ Dallas can find a spot in the NFL, I definitely believe Damian Martinez can as well.
Yep. And this one kind of fired me up. Andy Borgalis to the New England Patriots went in the draft, not undrafted.
And let me tell you,
in the draft,
when you get drafted as a kicker,
it's really good.
You're like that.
Yep. That's amazing.
And man, kudos to that kid. And but listen, man, we have been very fortunate to have two excellent kickers, both birthed by the same lady.
Yep. Yeah, it's exactly. No, yeah, it's true.
They were excellent.
And I think, we got a kicker over the weekend in the portal, Bert Auburn, who there's 50-50. Some people were like, he wasn't that good. Whatever.
I mean,
we're going to have.
Listen, I'm naming him Carrot Top before he shows up.
Yeah, he's got the hair, the waves. He's coming to Miami. I don't know.
Listen, I don't care what he has. He better just fucking nail his,
Yeah. Listen, for the last 7 years, we've been really solid in the kicking game.
We've taken it for granted.
Yes, and I think this year could be the year where we kind of see maybe a little bit of a fall off.
We'll find out, but I can tell you one thing: those Borgalis brothers,
unbelievable, absolutely, it was amazing. We really took it.
Those
for
guys
granted.
are 90% kickers, man.
Yeah, it's really incredible. Yeah. So obviously, the two that went undrafted were Xavier to the Titans and Jacoby George to the Panthers. So I spoke to a former player over the weekend. Not going to name any names. He expressed high-level concern that we had a kicker go in the draft before we even had a receiver be drafted in the actual draft. His quote was, "Our current staff under Mario isn't developing next-level talent." Do you agree or disagree with that comment?
The only reason why I would say I agree is because of what I've heard, why the guy Isaiah Horton transferred, and that was complaints from family of his that they didn't feel he could be developed. So outside of that comment, I don't have any reason to suspect that's the truth, but I can't deny maybe there's some accuracy there, right?
Yeah.
I'm on the fence with that. I thought Jacoby George was definitely a draftable player, but we live in South Florida, so we're so heavily condensed with the U.
Right.
There's 1,000 schools and 100,000 players, or however many. Yeah. And so there's only so many position guys that are going to go at receiver in a 7-round draft, right? I thought Jacoby George. That doesn't mean he won't make it, right? I mean, that doesn't mean he won't make it. But, to not get drafted, I was a little bit surprised. I was really, really surprised that Xavier Restrepo didn't get drafted from a production standpoint. But after witnessing his 40 time and the fact that he ran, I knew that this was going to happen. Did I not tell you this?
Yes. Yep.
Did I say he's not going to get drafted? Did I tell you that?
You did.
Okay.
You definitely
and that wasn't me cheering against him, because I am a big Xavier Restrepo fan, and I love where he landed, and I think he's going to be good. I just think he lost a lot of money that he didn't need to lose.
Right.
And that's my feeling on Xavier Restrepo. He's going to ball out. He's going to do what he's always done. He's going to play with a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah. No, for sure. And and we'll get into it at the end of the show. Yeah. We'll talk about it a little bit deeper, but it was definitely an unfortunate circumstance, costed him a lot of money. But yeah. So also in my discussion with this former player, I asked him this question. I said, under Mario, he's been getting amazing talent from high school, like we just talked about in the portal. But with how things are currently going from a developmental standpoint, what do you think our record's going to be this year? His response was 6-6. Okay, that was his response. I know you've
been really getting around, haven't you, Mike?
I have been. I've been having my conversations, and I'm going to get into an honest conversation with the fan base after this. But, I know you hear everything that I hear from within, because they're really your sources. So at this point, are you leaning more to agreeing with that prediction or not?
No,
Okay.
I'm sticking 9-3.
9-3. Why do you see that?
I'm betting on their offense. I don't like they got some good players they just added in the transfer portal. You know how I feel about the transfer portal though. I like building chemistry and going through battles together and aging well together, experience. And I just don't like getting pieces here, pieces there, even though that's the new landscape. So you got to adjust with the times. But I'm not a big fan of that. And they got this kid from BYU. I think he may be really good from a returner standpoint. He's probably going to be a huge upgrade. I think he'll probably fit into the rotation, receivers rotation, if Shannon Dawson goes more than 4. Like I like the parts they've brought in. I guess I don't like really the current landscape of college football is really what it is more so. It's not a Mario Cristobal thing or a University of Miami thing. It's just a landscape of the NCAA today. I'm sticking 9-3, man. I'm going to give the defense a chance. I'm going to give this guy Corey Heatherman a chance to do something. There's too much talent to go 6-6. There just is. There's too much talent, man.
I hear you, definitely.
If they were to, let me say this, Mike. If they were to go 6-6, which I don't think they will, but if they were to go 6-6, Mario Cristobal's got to do a soul search on himself.
Do you believe that's a fireable offense?
Yes, but I don't think he would be.
Right.
But yes.
Yeah, definitely.
There's too much talent there, man.
Right.
There's just too much talent. And he's responsible for bringing it in. So I'm going to give him that. Like, look, I just gave him some flowers before we started.
Yep.
So I'm going to be positive and keep the cup half full. But, this is a show me year, man. This is really a show me year. He's got 3 recruiting classes now under his belt, right? Under his belt, even though this is his 4th year. And, there's just no excuses, man. Too many other coaches have done it in short order. And this is it. They got a high ticket item in Carson Beck, and he better do some Superman type things,
right,
to keep them at 9-3 or better.
So,
and anyone who disagrees, feel free to disagree, but that's just honest.
Yeah. So I wanted to say something to the fan base, and because I'm on your social media accounts, and I see a lot of the comments, I see a lot of what's going on. You made this stance on ACC championship or playoff berth, which I think everyone should agree with that statement.
Well, if you don't, you're just an idiot.
Yeah, no, for sure. So when I read the comments, sometimes I see that they're still, in a way, blaming you. So I just wanted to say this,
Oh, come on.
There has to be a statute of limitation when it comes to this topic. The reason why I say this is because you look at SMU. SMU had the death penalty. Okay, the worst of the worst. They get Rhett Lashley. In 2 years, they make the ACC championship, and they were a field goal away from winning that football game. Okay, Miami makes the ACC championship one time in 2017, and we get absolutely embarrassed to Kelly Bryant and Clemson. And as well as everyone who knows me, I'm as big as a UM fan as they come. There really might not be anybody bigger. There probably is, but it's very, very rare. I think there just needs to be an honesty from the fan base and from ourselves. It's been over 20 years, and you can't be okay with what's going on right now. I think you have to be fed up at a certain point. It's like being lied to for 20 years in a row, drinking the Kool-Aid 20 years in a row. Enough is enough at a certain point. And I just feel like when it comes to Mario Cristobal, I don't hate him. I'm just fed up. I'm fed up with all of these coaches coming in for all this time. As you talked about, all the talent level, in my opinion, I think it makes him look worse because you have the talent and you're still losing. You get a Cam Ward, a generational quarterback, and you still don't make even the ACC with a generational quarterback. That should tell the fan base all that they need to know from a coaching aspect, in my opinion.
Let's remove me completely from the equation.
Yep.
Forget me, and I don't even forget me.
Yep.
Right? What are you looking at as a fan if you're satisfied with where you are? What are you looking at?
How can you be satisfied?
What are you looking at? Are they in a better position today than where they were with Manny Diaz? Yes. Are they in a better position resource-wise than they were when Kirk Herbstreit called out the whole university on ESPN Game Day? Yes. Are they now one of the active participants in the NIL moves and talent acquisitions in the portal? Yes. There's your reasons why Mario should be successful.
Yep.
Skip me.
Right.
What do I got to do with anything?
Yeah.
I just happen to call shit the way I see it.
Right.
And if they win, like I've said, Mario's going to get flowers. I want him to win. Why do I not? I want him to win, be successful.
We all want him to win.
Just don't make excuses and point fingers, man. Just win.
Yeah.
Just win, man. There's too much talent. There's just too much talent. There's too much talent in the cupboard now. Yeah, and he's responsible for building it. Now do something with it. That's it. It's a really simple equation.
This is my closing comments on this whole thing. You got to look at it from this way. Take any good coaches in college football, even past coaches like Urban Meyer, if you want to throw him in there. You give those coaches, a Nick Saban, Urban Meyer, a Kirk Cignetti, a Rhett Lashley, give them that roster last year, and what happens? Because Indiana had won 9 games in 3 years.
Listen, I used the analogy about the NFL draft and Georgia having 8 guys in the first round in the last 4 years, defensively, either at line or linebacker. Do you think there's a reason why they've played for the national title or was in the conversation all those years?
Yeah.
There is, because of those guys. Where are our first and second round picks? Or where are our first round picks on the D line? That's development. That's not only acquisition, it's development, because we had Leonard Taylor. He was a 5-star, right? These stars don't mean anything if you don't coach them.
Yep.
They just don't. They just don't. And, that was so obvious with our old, and of course we're going back during the Butch days and this and that. Man, these guys developed talent. They were personnel scouts, and they saw it, and they developed it. That's where we have to be. You want to know why we haven't been what we've been? That's the answer. Who told you that 2 weeks ago? Butch Davis told you that.
Yes, he did.
Directly. So, I don't have anything to do with this. I just bring it to you as I see it, and which is real and raw and honest. And if you hate me, then hate me. But, that's what it is.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it the way I see it. I'm not getting on bashing. I'm not here to bash Mario. I'm here to raise Mario up. It's all about competition, right? I'm raising his competition. Get us to the ACC championship and win it. Now we can start talking about other things. Because if you win it, where are you? You're in the playoffs.
Yep.
So now you've knocked out 2 birds with 1 stone.
There has to be a line in the sand.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just been too many years. You know, it's enough is enough. The talent's there. Everything's there in place.
It's funny when I read the comments from other fans of other fan bases. Mine hasn't been relevant in 20 years. No shit. Do you think it's a coincidence? I was locked up for 10 of them.
Yeah, well, that's true too. So let's get into this Xavier Restrepo a little bit deeper here. Obviously he ran a 40 that we both agree that he shouldn't have, and I know that you have a strong opinion about this, so wanted to see if you would like to share that.
I mean, listen, I'm a fan of Drew Rosenhaus. I've known him a long time, and he's obviously one of the best agents in the game, certainly one of the most notorious, and has done very well for his clients over the course of time. I don't think anybody would dispute that, but he made a really big mistake by allowing that kid to run, because he's obviously lacking speed. We've heard some things behind the scenes with regards to his speed from people close to the organization or university. And I'm a huge Restrepo fan. Am I not? I am. But you're playing poker. You're trying to get your guy drafted. And he shouldn't have run the 40. And it cost him a lot of money. It cost him a couple $1 million at the very least, even if he ends up. I didn't personally think Restrepo was a 2nd-round pick, but I did think he was a very solid 3rd or 4th-round pick. And I think he'll carve out a spot for himself in the league. I think he will make it. I think he'll get back some of what he lost.
Yeah.
But he lost a couple $1 million as a 3rd or 4th-round pick.
Yeah.
I don't know what the number is today's market, but whatever it is, it's a couple $1 million. And I fell for him, man. And I saw, when I'm really glad he ended up in Tennessee. I think that's gonna help him immensely, because he's got a guy who knows him well and is gonna feel comfortable with him as well in Cam Ward. And I think that's the silver lining in this shitty happening event for him not getting drafted.
I think,
and what did I tell you also? I said he'd be better off not getting drafted.
yes.
Did I not tell you
Once
that?
he passed about the 5th round.
Did I tell you
Yeah.
he's better off not getting drafted? He could pick and choose. He ended up where he needed to, and that's a really good move for him. And I think he'll latch on as a result.
And shout out to Cam Ward for making that happen, because you know he was in their ear about that.
I'm sure he did.
100%.
And listen, and Restrepo deserves it, and Cam Ward, I'm sure, had something to do with it.
He's never been, a distance guy necessarily. He's that quick, twitchy guy that runs really good routes and gets open,
I hope
finds
he
a way
makes
to
it,
get
man.
open.
I think I echo the sentiments of every Miami fan by saying so.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's had an amazing college career to be proud of, and I'm a fan of his, and I'm cheering for him.
Sticking on this whole topic of development, I know that you're close with a parent of a local 5-star that Miami is really hard after. Furthermore, you had some strong insight on the whole Isaiah Horton situation. Can you share with our viewers a little bit on, what people's concerns are in that department?
Development at the receiver position. Not my words. Certainly, because you're around. That's it. That's the word I hear. Developing, next level. Developing to the next level. And that's all I know. That doesn't mean the guy I'm talking about is coming, not coming. I don't know. That's not a decision. I'm sure in today's day and age, it's about the bag, and that's going to really dictate the flow of things, which is terrible. But I understand, who am I to spend someone else's money or tell them what to do, whether they have money or don't have money or whatever. This is the world we live in now. But I have been told there's a development situation. And that being said, I don't think Kevin Beard is the problem at the development space.
Who would you put that on?
I'm going to have to say the offense coordinator. But I wouldn't put that on Kevin Beard. I don't think Kevin Beard has a lot of say in what goes on in that position department, even though he's the position coach. I think the offense coordinator controls that narrative.
Definitely.
And that's what's been shared with me.
Well, there you have it. So let's close with this question. Obviously, over the last couple of months, this whole Cam Ward talk, when you went on the Pac-Man Jones podcast December 10th, and this whole thing, it's been just, a lot of back and forth on what's been going on. Now that it's all over, right? What's your message to everybody about that whole Cam Ward situation? Him obviously didn't land with the Giants, but he was a first pick. What's your response? I'm
going to give you an exact summary. You know where I got that information.
Yes.
You know where I got it. A guy put on my direct message, which I'm going to post today, that he bet Cam Ward to be the first pick in the draft after he saw me on the Pac-Man Jones show. He was 7-1 in Las Vegas. 7-1. Those are large odds for a guy that's supposedly the overwhelming favorite, right? So that tells you he was no number 1 pick lock. Now everyone's like, well, how hard is it to pick the number 1 pick as the best quarterback? It's fucking hard. I got that information from the war room of the New York Giants. That's how hard it is. They were sick that they won a game. They were taking Cam Ward with the number 1 pick. I don't care who they ended up with. They were taking Cam Ward with the number 1 pick. So if I said he's going to the Giants, bad me that the Giants would go win a game. But they had the number 1 pick. Where did Cam Ward go?
Number 1.
Before anyone called it. And if anyone out there can show me where someone called Cam Ward prior to December 10th as the number 1 pick, and look at the ESPN mock drafts and tell me where he was on December 10th. It's not an argument. We both know. I fucking nailed it. No. I didn't nail it to the Giants because they won. I don't control it. And by the way, Shannon Dawson would have won. Just so you know. He would have won. NFL money's different than college money. And he would have won.
And we even heard from that organization that it was a fireable offense in a certain regards.
Listen, everybody could fucking eat a dick. I nailed it. Cam Ward, number 1. Yep. And not after the fact. Oh, yeah, everyone's mock draft. Cam Ward, number 1. What? With a month left in the draft process? Yeah, I did it in December.
Exactly.
Tell me when the market's going to crash next year. That's what I did.
Exactly. So before we end the show, we have just passed 250 subscribers on YouTube. And as promised, we are going to be giving away the 2001 defensive line signed by Vince Wilfork, Cornelius Green, William Joseph, I think a few others.
Those are the signatures there. Yeah.
So
if you reach out to me, I can get the rest of them signed.
So we're going to be giving this away to one lucky fan. You have to be subscribed to our YouTube and following on our Instagram. I will DM the lucky winner, and we'll have Nevin pick that. We'll post it this week. Thank you so much again, Nevin, for coming on as always, and we'll catch you on the next one.